Hello, how is everyone on this Sunday morning or afternoon, maybe evening for some? I just realized, or I was actually told, I didn't even know this on my own. US just did their daylight saving time. So I hope everyone's here who normally makes it, who wants to be here, who can be. Uh, I don't know, it just kind of blows my mind. It really does. Normally I'm on top of that. Yeah, see, some people. Oh, so people were early. Okay, that's good. I'd rather them be early and end up, I kind of waste your time a little bit, but at least you're here rather than showing up an hour into it. You had no idea until I said it. Okay, so I'm glad I'm not the only one. Yeah, I know parts of Europe had theirs last week, and for some reason I thought the U.S. one was later though, more than just 1 week away. I was expecting it like second week, third week into November. And what are we, 3 days in? Yeah. It's just earlier than I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't today. That's for sure. All right. We have some wild stuff today. Nah, the US is not special in that regard. I don't think all of Europe does it, but there are certainly places in Europe that do. But which countries they are, I couldn't tell you. I'm not that knowledgeable about it. Like I said, I barely keep up with the US one. And I think the only reason I keep up with it now is for the channel, because now I have to say, what is it, 10 p.m. EST at the end of my, or sorry, 10 p.m. UTC at the end of my videos instead of 9. I don't remember. I got to do the math on that. Oh, the EU had a recent vote on it. Florida recently voted on it too. Um, oh wait, did we have a vote or did we just talk about it? I remember DeSantis was talking about getting rid of it. But I don't remember voting on that, so maybe we didn't. Anyways, we still participate in daylight saving time, so maybe one day we'll get rid of it. The vote was yes, but nothing has happened. Ah, jeez. Oh, it was a guiding vote. All right. That's kind of a shame, but I mean, I guess it's good to get people's feelings, opinions on a topic before you start really going in on it and doing your research and figuring out what the change would implement and how it would affect certain aspects of different people's lives. Why put all the effort in if no one wants it anyways? Let me check real quick. I have a list of who requested everything. Anekdoten, no. Anekdoten was requested by Merrick over on Patreon, I think. I don't think they participate in Discord. All right, let's get this rolling. I'm gonna kick it off with some The National. That's the wrong window. I don't know if you guys want to see doubling up of the chat. Oh man. All right, Firefox vid change to that window. Cool. All right, that's a little better. Popular in prog circles. All right, let's kick this off with The National. We got a request in from What Makes Me Me. No context on it. Just going to dive straight into it. The song's called Conversation 16. When did this come out? 13 years ago. All right, fingers crossed for the DMCA bot. Let's not get blocked today. We have a couple of music videos, but I think most of what we have are just music, so we should be all right. Let's dive in and see what's going on with The National.
shit's on trouble. Do not know what all the troubles are for. Give them ice for their fevers. You're the only thing I ever want anymore. Live on coffee and flowers.
It's a nice chill vibe here, if nothing else.
Try not to wonder what the weather will be. I figured out what we're missing.
How do I... Oh, I know both of those. Those are
Miserable thing.
Hollywood actors.
You are asleep. Now we'll leave the Silver City, 'cause all the silver girls gave us black.
Yeah, Kristen Shaw. I'm actually watching a show with her in it right now. She, it's called Gravity Falls. She's a voice actor in it, though.
It's a Hollywood summer. You never believe the shitty thoughts I think. Meet our friends out for dinner.
Hey, glad to have you here. No Man is an Island.
I didn't mean anything. We belong in a movie. Try to hold it together till our friends are gone. We should
I like the cello. Is that what that is? I think so.
Do not want to disappoint anyone. Now we'll leave the Silver City.
A little bit of uplift here.
Gave us black dreams. Leave the Silver City.
Could have been a contrabass, yeah.
Everything means everything. I was afraid I'd eat your breast. I was afraid I'd eat your breast. 'Cause
Is he saying I was afraid I would eat your brains? Because I'm evil. This, I'm kind of...
I'm a confident liar.
I'm real curious about the lyrics. And I think that was the big moment. It increased the tension and the darkness in a way to contrast some of this chiller vibe. I don't think we're going to get something bombastic though.
Less than amazing. Do not know what all the troubles are for. Fall asleep in your branches. You're the only thing I ever want anymore. Now we'll leave the Silver City, 'cause all the silver girls gave us black dreams. Leave the Silver City to all the silver girls. Everything means everything. I was afraid I'd eat
Yeah, and that was our bridge. So we're going to be wrapping the song up soon.
I was afraid
She was Sarah Lynn? No way. That's definitely true. I haven't heard a lot of national, but I have heard bands that are just like they're themselves all the time. For better or worse. If you dig it, you're in for a good time. I think I'm gonna have to listen to this with the lyrics later on though, because I'm really intrigued about all of it, outside of the music, which I dig the music, right? We got to talk about that a little bit, since that's, it's like the main draw of the channel, right? Music reaction. I do like the chill vibe throughout a lot of this. There's a cool darkness to the chorus that gives it a little bit of a twist, a little bit of contrast, but it's very one note, as a couple of people had mentioned. It kind of sits in that same feeling and layering and volume. There's no contrast in that realm. Most of the contrast here is, as far as I can tell, harmonic contrast, just adding a bit of tension, and not even a lot. It's not like we move into something noisy into that chorus. It's just a little bit of darkness, maybe just one chord change that would influence the whole thing. Comes off as really 90s. Interesting. No DMCA yet. There have been times we've been blocked minutes after the song was over. So, oh, I meant to fix that. Let me make a note of that. I think I made a note last time too. It's probably in my to-do list already. uh, big GIFs in social stream. Oh, I don't know if anybody else streams, but social stream is what I use to bring all the chats together in one place. It's really nifty. Yeah, yeah, an image from Discord chat. Like I said, there's a setting in there to make images full size, or might not be full. It might just be bigger to give them more space. Because I mean, that's impossible to see over there. I just got to turn that setting on. Maybe I can do that right now. Oh, but it would. Yeah, I could, but then I'd have to update everything to reflect it. Yeah. All right, I'll do that for next week. Even like the vocals, we never get any distinct contrast on the vocals. They're always very comfortable, a little bit of breathiness behind it, not a lot of power, not a lot of presence, just enough, and it matches the overall sound. But I think what really intrigues me here is the narrative aspect. The few lines I picked up from the chorus have me a bit curious about the story, but also how all of that works with the music video. Obviously, there's an element of longing in here if we look at the music video from the perspective of that main male character, but that's really the only thing I picked up from the music video. And there's a little bit of that in the music. Right? A little bit of, what is it? Not wanting to be, wistfulness? Is that what I'm looking for? Of a longing for something. But, like, I have little breadcrumbs, and I'm really curious how the cake tastes. So, I might, like I said, have to give that another listen with the lyrics. Kind of get the full picture on that. But I am curious how I would have reacted to it without. I don't know how to explain it besides. But the song sounded like the word music. I mean, it was music, so that's accurate. Might not be expressly concise, but it's accurate. But like I said, I'm curious how I would have reacted to it without the music video. It is a bit monotonous. There are some cool details to it. We have some different layers coming in from time to time. We had that cello or double bass possibly. We had some expanded drum work. There was the bridge that was more tom oriented than anything else. So there are a few moments where we introduce some new instrumentation to it. But overall, it's very comfortable. It doesn't really go out of its way to do anything. It sets a mood and actually makes me curious if they were maybe ahead of the curve. I mean, I was going to mention how it's very vibe or aesthetic focused, which is what a lot of modern pop-oriented music is. But, I mean, shoegaze has been doing this for decades, so creating a vibe or an atmosphere and just sitting within it isn't something new. But in the pop field, this feels a bit, well, is it poppy though? I think it's like on the cusp of pop rock, but maybe it isn't. Sorry, I can't attend today. I'm out for a family meal. Should catch you next week. That's fine, Mark. You have a fantastic meal with the family. Definitely more important than just hanging around listening to music. And there's always the VOD later too, so definitely enjoy that while you can. Like the Simpsons episode where a definition is Homer's picture in the dictionary. uh, Alright, that one's gotta come down. I gotta check that one out later. Alright, we have some Doon Kanda coming up. And the name sounds familiar, but it's just not ringing a bell. And I feel like we've listened to them recently, too. And it's just... This isn't helping either. We got no context from FHI over here. So, we're just gonna go into this one, and I don't know, hope it's something I could pick up on a first time. Let's see what's going on with Polycephaly. Someone let me know what that means. Oh, is it more than one? Like, I knew it was a sciencey term. Poly means more than one. But, like, I was thinking of, like, cephalopod. And I don't think that has to do with heads. So maybe I'm working on the wrong base term here. Anyways, like I said, if anyone has some info on that, let me know. We're going to kick this song off, though. Oh, is this... Dang. See, okay. Man. So last week we had a problem with the Spotify app. So this time I was like, I'll just do it in the browser. And I forgot that if you leave a Spotify tab open for more than like 5 seconds, it breaks and you have to refresh it. Alright, let's try this again. 8 months ago? Was it really that long ago? Dude, this really quick reverb is wild. That album art is wild too. So cephalopods are octopus? Or they can be. So what is a cephalopod like on the larger umbrella term? Okay, so it is head related. So then more than one head. So, like my instinct would say that we have more than one melody in here then. Head footing? Interesting. Really? That's wild. Oh, and like a metaphorical idea. Not more than one physical head, but more than one spiritual. Okay. I'm trying to like pair all of that back to the music. Which is, I mean, it's gorgeous. There's so many cool textures in here. Beautiful melody. That bass tone. Oh, it sounded like a fly at the end. I wonder if that was intentional. So I'm of a split mind here. Although, here's the thing. Musically, this is fantastic. Alright, cool. We'll definitely see when we get around to that one. That's further, yeah, it's like third from the end, so another hour or so, 70 minutes, we should be there. I feel like you could say a pregnant woman is polycephalic. I mean, technically, it's like dungeon synth, but good. Oh, dang. Normally, I'm on the outside of these shots being fired, but I kind of like dungeon synth. Not something I go out of my way for, but I've never not enjoyed it. So, here's something interesting, Ramono. This is the opening track to the album. Hey, what's up? So I like the song enough. Like I mentioned, it has beautiful melodies, cool moving parts behind it. The timbres themselves are neat. I think if you transpose this and give it to a string quartet or something, you're going to wind up with something that feels very safe but gorgeous. A lot of what makes this interesting, at least to my ear, is not necessarily the music, but the production of it. And that's pretty cool. I'm a huge fan of that. Find new sounds for your music, 100%. Maybe it's more useful when describing plants when they often have several flower heads. That's cool. Now I'm curious if this is a word that is frequently used in some aspect of science and what area that would be and how it would be used. Because it does seem kind of niche. Something of having more heads or multiple heads. But see, even this concept right here, multiple heads, as I mentioned, I was expecting multiple melodies, the main part of the song, the core element. And the song doesn't really have that. We have moving parts beneath the melody, but none that I would call fleshed out enough to describe counterpoint. And even the core melody that's played by the lead instruments gets repeated often. There is one variation and expansion on it, but it's not diverse enough to call it a second melody either. In a lot of ways, for a song that has poly in its song title, there's a lot of single concepts going on in here. Worked with Bjork? Wow. And so, like I said, I'm kind of split on this. Musically, this is beautiful. I love the atmosphere of it, but I'm very confused about the titling. And I want to know why they chose this name. What is it about that word that they felt associated with the music they had created? And it's not a negative thing. It's just an aspect that I'm not on my own sure about. I guess that's the best way to put it. Um, but yeah, I would love to hear an acoustic rendition of this. I think that would be very cool. It was beautiful, but didn't grab me. And I think a lot of that's the simplicity of it. Like I said, musically, it's not very unique, but it's the instrumentation they gave to it. And if you're just listening primarily to the harmony and the melody, there's not a lot going on there. As Ramono said, it's good intermission music, something to take you from one track to another, which goes to the next idea. Well, actually, it doesn't have to take you from anywhere. As an intro track, it'd be simply queuing you up for the next song, for the album to start proper, and that only being 3 minutes long. Oh, actually, that's pretty long for them. Okay, never mind. I was thinking maybe the other tracks would be longer. Refers to animals born with two heads as an anomaly. Okay. So something unusual then. Maybe abstracting the concept away from well, I mean, even then, it's a very specific choice. They could have used anything that describes an anomaly if they didn't want to focus on multiple elements of something. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear an interview as the band artist. I don't know. Oh no, solo artist. It looks like. Yeah, I'd love to know what led them to name this. That's what I think is just going to stick with me the most on this one. All right, more abstract ideas. This art is absolutely bonkers here. We have young widows, swamped and agitated. PL jogging, also with no context. Y'all just don't want to get me situated for anything today. All right, let's dive in. See what's going on. Heavy left focus. Nice little 7/4 idea. I think most people prefer just to toss me in and see what happens. Oh, that's another idea too. This is very punky. I actually have a hard time placing this. Ooh, fun harmonies. Yeah, that's one of the things that's throwing me. It's a very punk song, but there are metal elements, but it's not metalcore, like the more traditional combination of punk and metal. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. This is a gnarly tone, very swampy. Math punk? I can go with math punk. And see, this is kind of rockish too. Art rock, maybe? It's like it has punk attitude, but rock and metal sounds. I think I'm just going to toss in the prog rock umbrella. That just captures all of it, I think. Prog music? Wait, this just sounds like music. There, I got my bases covered. Oh, post-hardcore would be good. It's not the sound that post-hardcore got formed into, but the general idea of taking the punk sound and doing something new with it. I could see how this shares some ideas with shoegaze, particularly in the guitar tone. But musically, it doesn't feel very gazy to me. Oh, I forgot about prog. I think that's one of my favorite genres to say. See, and this kind of reminds me of some British alt-rock bands, like the Strokes. When did this come out? 9 years ago. Stuff like this, though, is... man. They certainly like the repetition. Oh, yeah, never mind. I should have looked down a little lower. That was my fault. I don't know why I did that. I know not to look at the upload date, but I did anyways. The song name is definitely on point. So this is all over the place. Definitely a little close to post-punk, kind of prog punk. There's some alt-rock in here. There's some post-hardcore. Sludge, I can definitely see. Greed had mentioned desert. Yeah, we can get that in there. There's a little bit of metal at the beginning. More, well, like a metallic sound. I don't know if I'd say that they bring in metal, but it's a metallic sound. And all of this is wrapped up in a punky angstiness. And that eclectic combination of genres is very fun. I just wish they did something more with it. And I feel like I say that about everything punk related. But it has a lot of cool moments. I don't think it earns its 5-minute runtime, though. There's too many sections in here that just sit on one simple idea, too. Not even putting a melody over it. Just create a rhythm and a sound, and then just do it over and over and over and over. There's a part of the bridge that did that. The chorus was like that, though at least we got a little bit of melody on that with the vocals. And we had the ending like it, and to me that's my biggest hurdle here, is the punkier simplicity and focus on atmosphere. But other than that, I mean, there's so many cool moments in this. There's so many combinations of sounds. It's the repetition gets the anxiety across. Like pacing. Okay, I could see that. Alright. I respect the decision a little bit more. I'm curious if the rest of their music does that as well. If that's a staple of their sound or something they specifically did for this one. I mean, either way, it ends up working well artistically, but that kind of stuff interests me. But everything else is cool. Around every corner, you really had no idea what we were going to get. Some of it was a bit more texture-based. Some of it was a bit more shouty. We had some melody in there. all the other tracks are far shorter. Interesting. So I wonder if I'd enjoy the rest of that more, or if the shorter means that they focus on the high repetition and that we don't have as much variety in it. But yeah, I mean, generally it's a fun song. I wish it was compressed down a little bit, but maybe that would have ruined some of what they were going for. But it's still a very fun, eclectic combination of sounds, and I'm always here for that. I even like the vocals. I'm not usually a big fan of punk shouting, but it ends up working well with the energy here, and ends up turning into something a bit more positive, at least for me. Alright, I'll pull them down. I'll throw them in the list. Let's see what's up with them. This I've been looking forward to. I vaguely remember have we done Hellsongs? I feel like we have. The name rings a bell to me. Kentucky group, Wonder if geographically it makes any difference with their influences. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, there we go. Spotify had a runtime error. I thought maybe they went down for a second. Yeah, right? So I believe this is a cover, but it's by Hellsongs. And this is the Iron Maiden cover. Yep. From Prague Pair. Hellsong's wonderful cover of the Maiden classic Run to the Hills. It's, in its naked beauty, the best and most grabbing version I've ever heard. So I wonder if that means that it's stripped down. A bit more of an acoustic take on it, maybe bringing the intensity down a little bit. Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Let's see what's going on. Get some Hellsongs. Run to the Hills. Maybe that's why I recognize the name. Yeah, it doesn't look like we've done any reactions to them. But if their music's like this, we need to.
White man came across the sea. He brought us pain and
yeah, this is like the first time on the channel, period.
They killed our tribes, they killed our creed. They took our game for his own need. We fought him hard and we fought him well. Out on the plains, we gave him hell. But many came too much for creed. Or will we ever be set free?
The reverberance of that guitar is phenomenal. Such a good tone.
Hard on the plains, chasing the redskins back to their holes, fighting them at their own game for freedom. A stab in the back, women and children, cowards attack. Run to the
even with something so slowed down and chilled out, I still hear that hi-hat heavy drum work underneath this. It's impossible for me not to hear that, I guess. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Hunting and killing.
I definitely prefer my covers to
Raping the women and wasting the men.
take the ideas of the original and find a new sound that complements it.
Are the tame, selling the whiskey and taking their gold, enslaving the young and destroying the old. But many came too much for creed. Or will we ever be set free? Riding through dust clouds and barren wastes, galloping hard on the plains, chasing the redskins back to their holes, fighting them at their own game for freedom. A stab in
I
the
love the
back,
male vocalist just
and children,
width to it.
cowards attack.
It's a fantastic compliment when we get those layered vocals.
Run to the hills, run for your lives.
Oh, that's a great
Run
Great
to
comment, too.
the hills,
There's a lot of lines in here that
run
I've
for your
never heard in a song before. She has a very good enunciation of words.
Run for your lives.
Who says you can't?
Run to the
It doesn't work. But it does feel a little odd, but you can do it.
run for your lives.
This is definitely more, lighter music. Yeah, that was gorgeous. Hillsongs. That's good. That's good wordplay. Absolutely gorgeous. It always blows my mind because I don't know, for like the longest time, I was always focused on complexity in writing. And you always kind of, I think when I, at least me, I'm going to stick it with I. I'm going to stick with I. When I was in this mindset, it was always about more layers, more harmonic density, more melodies, more chords, more instruments. And I think I just completely forget about music like this, where it's just two guitars, maybe one, and two vocals. And it's just breathtaking. It's about the authenticity of the music more than the complexity of it. Simple melody, some moving chordal work underneath, and a gorgeous song. They have a lot of metal classic covers. I was going to say massics. I don't know, that's not a word. The moment you grow as a musician is when you realize more complex doesn't always mean better. Yeah, I think that's a good stepping stone. There's a lot of places to grow as a musician and a lot of lessons that kind of need to be learned. You know, there's definitely people, teachers primarily, professors and such, that tried to teach me stuff and just in one ear out the other. They were obviously wrong. They were just old. That's what it was, right? So you just have to learn these things on your own. They take a song from hell and make it into a song for a hill. Dude, if they covered a Kraulis song, I'd be all over that. I want to hear what's actually going on in that music. Although I hope they kind of do what they do here, too. They condense it down. I think that's another thing that works really well for this is we don't have a long extended bridge. We have two verses, two choruses, and that's the song. And it ends up feeling right. Definitely the way they should have went about doing it. True art lies in how you can slap two guitars and two people with decent diction and create a moving song. I like that. But yeah, there's not much I could say about this. I love the moving chord shaping that we have on the guitar. It's not just strumming chords, which I think would be the easy decision to do on this. Instead, they did decide to create something rhythmic and melodic out of giving us the harmonic information. And I think that embellishes and it adds to it in a lot of good ways. But I mean, it's just gorgeous. There's nothing much I could say about it. Y'all heard what I heard. It's a simple song, but it's quite effective. Some songs are more different than the originals. Wait, more different than this was? I felt like this was really different. I mean, it inverted the intensity. It inverted the speed. Kind of brought it like really down to earth. This was a pretty big difference. I mean, the thing is though is that they did keep the melody in here. And maybe they don't do that always, which ditching a lead melody is, I mean, that's a bold move for a cover. I think the only other thing you could do is maybe change the lyrics, and that seems just just as much of a gamble, I guess. Yeah, play more with melodies. See, I'm a huge fan of lyrical cover only. I do like I do like incorporating a lead melody, but even like I think some of my favorite covers, and I wish I could remember one that would fall into this. I know I've heard one. Is when you keep the words, but you turn the melody into a motif that sort of pops up hauntingly throughout the song at various places, but doesn't dominate the song like it does in the original. And I know I've heard a cover like that, and I know it was awesome, and it was probably back in college, and I don't have my bookmarks from back in college. I kind of wish I had preserved more stuff from back then, made, I don't know, bookmarks or YouTube playlists or something. I feel like there's a lot of music that I took for granted that I would just remember it, and I don't. And I think that sucks. Try that version of Paranoid. Oh, this is a whole thing. We got Seek and Destroy. Is that Metallica? Paranoid, Breaking the Law, War Pigs. I don't recognize the rest, but I'm sure they are also covers. Okay, yeah. I'm checking the album out. There isn't much of a point in a cover when the original is completely unrecognizable. I can see that. I can see that. I have some albums on my hard drive from 2005 and they're nowhere to be found online now. Yeah, dude. Even like the old days of like LimeWire and Kazaa and so many weird MP3s that were probably poorly tagged and weren't like I feel like everybody who was a millennial ended up listening to a System of a Down Legend of Zelda cover, which obviously wasn't System of a Down, but like how would I even find that today? Is that thing still around today? I don't know. I haven't thought about that in decades. Why did I think about that now? But like stuff like, I wish I would have just kept a journal of some stuff like that. Okay, so I'm not, yeah, like everybody I feel like has heard that track if they were a millennial. It just seemed to be distributed everywhere on the internet. And to this day, I don't know who actually wrote it. There was some stuff that I think were attributed to like Weird Al, but I doubt he wrote those. And I don't know. There's a whole generation of internet stuff that I feel just kind of got lost in that old Web 1.0 days. All the old GeoCity sites. All right, I can't get nostalgic about this right now. I'm gonna start like just like the old days, man. All right, we got some stuff from Tenet, which it's pretty cool. The composer is Ludwig Göransson. I hope I pronounced that kind of close. This one comes from Ramono, right? Yeah. Did he produce Childish Gambino? Somebody answer that, because now I mean, it seems like people just bounce around everywhere. If you're in one place, you've probably also worked elsewhere. If you're scoring a Christopher Nolan film, it doesn't surprise me if you've also produced, mainstream music too. But that would be a very neat connection there. The G is pronounced like a J, Göransson, but not the G at the end of Ludwig, right? That's a hard G. Remember when you pirated MP? I actually never used Napster. That was a little before my time. This song has been stuck in my head since I first watched the film. Powerful, creative, and epic, especially combined with the truck scene where the parts are going forward and backward at the same time. Oh, very cool. So he was chosen because Hans Zimmer was busy with a little project called Doon. You think Hans could have made a little bit of time for Chris on this? No, working on Doon. All right, let's see what's going on with Trucks in Place. Never saw this film. I'm not a big Christopher Nolan fan, and I have a lot of gripes with Tenet, but I think I'd still recommend it. Yeah, okay, I can go with it. It's mid. It does what it does very well, but it's also it's Chris Nolan. I don't know how other way I could word that. But I think it was like mid plus. I'd probably give it like a 7, 6.5 out of 10. Not the masterpiece that I always hear about it, but it was good. It was enjoyable. I love the panning. Oh, dude, Interstellar. I think that's probably one of the few Nolan movies I really enjoyed. And I think it's because of the emotional impact of it. The slow pitch modulation. You know, it's wild. I mean, it's been a couple years, I guess, since I saw Tenet. I don't remember this, though. It's interesting that it had such an impact on you, that it stuck with you. I could see that. Sidechaining a kick to the bass is standard practice in a lot of mainstream sounds. It makes sense to carry it over because it's a very dramatic sound. I almost think it doesn't work well in pop where it's used. It's almost too dramatic for a lot of what pop does, but in soundtracks, yeah. You play a song with, oh, snap. How long is it? Oh, 5.5 minutes. If it was shorter, I might have just done it on the stream, but I'm gonna have to do that on my own later then. Out of curiosity, do you know if the entire soundtrack works played backwards? Oh yeah, trailers love it. The digitized vocals is an interesting choice too. You know what's interesting too is a lot of this song is very beat focused. There's embellishing ideas, but it's mostly fixated on a rhythmic pulse. Everything else is secondary to that. Props to him. That's definitely how the album should have been, or how the soundtrack should have been created. And the alarm, that's reminiscent of the beginning too. Yeah, I'm trying to dance around it. It's been a couple of years, but I still don't want to spoil it if anyone hasn't seen it. Yeah, very cool song. Very cool. I'm actually kind of tempted to listen to the whole soundtrack now. I'm gonna pull that down, check it out. Actually, I guess it'll really depend. Soundtrack music is kind of hit and miss for me. It has to be really interesting on its own. But if it's on the shorter side, I might do it just to listen to it. But see, here's the thing. I'm trying to picture what that film would be, Shading Core. It just, uh, if the soundtrack wasn't as good, the movie would be a 7. See, and for me, music in film tends to either be invisible or terrible. And so I very rarely rank film based on how good the music is. I think Matrix is the only film where the music really stands out to me, but well, I was gonna say it wasn't even. I didn't pick up on it the first time through, but I was like 10 or something, so I mean that probably checks out. But also, I highly recommend the Matrix soundtrack and like look up some video essays or even I'm sure there's a like a physical essay you can go read about it too. The chromaticism in that soundtrack is bonkers. It's such an interesting way to write music. Without the film, this is a bit uninteresting. And see, I was going to praise this track because I do think that sonically it is very interesting from a production standpoint. Musically, what's on paper, I mean, like I said, you generally have some sort of beat going on and some ornamental sound, and that's it. It is not very rich in that perspective. Music is supposed to be invisible. I mean, yeah, I agree with that. Soundtrack music is supposed to bleed into the film. It makes me feel bad though because as a music guy, I tend to just not pay attention to soundtracks. And I think that kind of sucks. I think that's why video game soundtracks stick with me though, because you'll hear that song on loop forever, and then it gets stuck in your head, and you start humming it. And but it's not like it's not intentional. Film doesn't really have that. You're not going to listen to the same section hundreds of times over. But I do wish I could appreciate film soundtrack more in the moment, and I kind of don't. The Wall. Musicals don't count, pair. uh, I think music can make or break films, whether it's original or well, dude. Soundtracked films definitely can make or break stuff for me. If I feel like some real world music just isn't fitting, it pulls me out so fast. Invisible away, it shouldn't be in the forefront. Yeah. Interesting, you disagree with the notion it should be invisible. I don't know of any film that I think would be better if the soundtrack were more visible, more audible. I mean, maybe if it's like a punky film, having some punk music go along with it. But that's one of those moments again where like real music being put in as a soundtrack works. It's like sound engineer at a venue. You're not supposed to notice him, but you will if he's not there. And see, that's interesting too because I know a lot of people who have commented on when a film goes silent, of when there is no background music in a place where you would expect it, and feeling a powerful connection to that scene or whatever. And I don't pick those up either. When I pay attention to film, I'm usually hyper focused on cinematography, camera work, direction, transition of scene, and acting and story. Music is just, it's so far in the back for me. But I've seen Hereditary get mentioned a few times. I don't think I've seen that, but now I feel like I have to. It works very well on long established shots with longer takes. And see, I've watched Apocalypse Now, and yeah, the music, I can't think of a single thing in there other than kicking it off with some, it kicked it off with a 60s song, didn't it? But I can't remember anything about the original soundtrack. Oh, yeah. Well, see, Scott Pilgrim, though, for the most part, is diegetic. I think. Is there music? I've seen that film a lot, and I can't think of any songs other than when they are playing them in the film. I see, again, just, I don't know, music just doesn't click with me in film at all. Although, okay, so here's a different thing, too, is that, um, where was I going with that? Something about music that's actually created to be pushed into the background, which is where a lot of AAA Hollywood film takes their soundtrack work. It's supposed to be a general vibe in the background. There's certainly things like this that are a bit more exploratory than that. But I mean, yeah, there's another thing too, Leon, is the sound engineering. The music is supposed to be secondary to the scene. You have to be able to hear the effects and any things that are happening, and then also the dialogue on top of all of that. There it is, the Doors. I knew it started with something that was in the doc. They said they originally scored the entire movie with song. Interesting. I don't know that that would have been great. Maybe I wouldn't have noticed it though. Oh, well, that's a good thing, Bloda. I don't know if it affects me subconsciously. I don't notice it. I'll put it that way. Um, but I don't remember it either. So I might feel it on some level. I'm just not conscious of it. I do want to bring this back though, back to this track. Y'all are more than welcome to continue talking about music's place in film, but I do like a lot of the sounds in here. There's a lot of really great production to it. Right off the bat, we had the main bass kick come in, and then as it echoed, it got pushed out to the sides. I thought that was a fantastic way to introduce the sound on something that was going to be as spatially aware as it was. For something that is kind of so simple musically, the production of this is very, very smart. It makes use of a lot of space. It allows the song to feel large at a lot of times, both vertically and horizontally, even without a lot of what would be on paper actually happening. There's a lot of reverb and echo, and it's a lot of space being taken up by some of these instruments. Volume plays into it too. But there's also some interesting details that I think is what's going to make it playable backwards too, which is just a neat trick in and of itself. But there's a lot of, well, there's a general disregard for harmony. And actually, this makes sense, right? I talked about how it was primarily rhythmic and textures and sounds. No melody, no harmony. Those are harder to reverse. And so even when we do get notes in here, they're pitch shifted gradually over time. We'll start on one note and just kind of and like slowly modulate it into higher pitches or lower pitches. And this is what creates any sort of movement to the song. Sort of melodic in the sense that this is what melody would normally be doing, but not melodic in the fact that I would call this melody. And I think it's a really intelligent way to go about doing this. It allows the soundscape to still be the key thing without allowing the song to stagnate too hard. It's very well done. Like I said, I enjoyed my time with it, even though I agree with Synapse that there really isn't a lot going on. Not a lot that would grab me, but focusing on the production side leaves me with a vast appreciation for it. Inside, welcome. You say Old Boy's editing. You talking about audio or video? Like the way that the scenes are cut. I feel like I should watch Old Boy again. The only thing I remember is the iconic hallway scene. Both, okay. And again, I can't remember any music from. I feel like what I should start doing when I finish a film is just go listen to the soundtrack. Maybe just having the two back to back will help me sort of pair some of that together. Talking about the way this, yeah, I don't remember anything about that. But again, Old Boy, I checked out. I must have been a late teen. Because that's an 03 film. Yeah, so I was probably like 16, 17. I probably watched it a few years after it was made. Maybe college even. But I do remember the ending though. That such a messed up ending. That stuck with me. Sometimes the music of movies should be clearly heard as it enhances the scene. I remember a few small short scenes from movies where the music had a huge impact. I did read, yes, I read the lyrics already. I saw that earlier when I was putting all this together. So yeah, we're gonna get into this. This is a very lengthy comment, so we're gonna get into it. I've never seen Cowboy Bebop. Moving on. Oh, geez, my light. I have seen the movie though, which I think took place after the anime, and that was probably a poor decision in retrospect, but I'm gonna go over the lyrics real quick for everyone. That was my plan. Let me get some comments first though. Alright, this one comes from Barlamage. Says these guys have a pretty unique spin on the whole Black Gaze, mainly due to their approach to the lyrics. They are written in prose and based heavily on French decadentism. And I think they are a pretty important part of the music. It would be nice if you could raw dog the lyrics to the song before listening so that you can have a much more compelling picture of their art. Compared to the rest of their lyrical content, Sword Swallower is pretty mild. A couple more notes, the song is from their most concise and heaviest record. On the other albums, their songs are longer and have a lot of Slint-esque and post-rock elements to it. On this album, some songs don't realize their lyrics in full. This is also the case in this song. The song ends the lyrics on the words, "the look of ecstasy which washed," and the written lyrics finish the story. I wonder what you think of that and how you interpret it. Alright. I haven't seen any Cowboy Bebop. So, like, at all. And I heard the Netflix series was not great, but I watched the Netflix Death Note series, so I guess I'm a glutton for punishment, and I'll probably watch the Cowboy Bebop one too eventually. Okay, so this track, Sword Swallower. Let's I gotta stay on topic for this because we have a little bit of preamble on it, more so than that had us going. So the lyrics to this is about a sword swallower, and they have a very lengthy blade. It was like as tall as them or a little taller, something along those lines. What is this band called? And the crowd is in disbelief. They're like, hey, he's not going to do it. And he ends up doing it, and it goes all the way through, and he has a bit of a look of pleasure on his face, a look of ecstasy, which washed over. And as Barlamage had mentioned, that's where the lyrics end. But there's an entire 3 more sentences on this that says that the tip of the blade was poking out of his antipodal orifice. And so he walked over to a cart and proceeded to slice up the objects one at a time to a standing ovation. Who comes up with these lyrics? But on the topic of this, I actually think it's interesting. We checked out a Converge, was it Converge? Track a month or two ago, and I had come across this bit of information that the lyrics just had one repeated phrase over and over and over and over and over. But if you get the insert to the vinyl or whatever, that's a mental image. But if you get the insert to the vinyl, or you look up the lyrics, or you check out the pamphlet in your jewel case, it has a full poem to the song, and that one line is in it. And I thought that was pretty cool. A way of hyperfixating on this one emotion and allowing it to dominate the song. In a sense, this one line and the fixation on it is what the song is sort of about in general, where the lyrics themselves might extrapolate on that a little bit, but if you just take that one line and the vocal delivery of it, you're getting a pretty good insight into what the narrator, or the character of the story, is going through. Live action Fruit Ninja. Oh man. So I like that. I think it's a neat idea. I don't know that this, well, I haven't heard the song yet. Maybe that ends up kind of working too, but just based off of the lyrics here, I think it's interesting to sing 70% of the lyrics you wrote and then just kind of leave it at that. I do think it is an interesting place to stop, though, as the most absurd part of the story is left out of the song that is recorded. You have to go read that elsewhere. I don't know that my enjoyment of what Converge did really follows through on this. It's a very loose connection at best, but I do think it's an interesting thing that can be explored. I don't know if this is going to be a good execution of the idea. Poor choice of words. But it's an interesting concept. I think one that can be explored. Am I going to react to the rest of the Ne Obliviscaris albums? Maybe, eventually. I figure by January, at the latest, although with the way that my schedule is going, that's probably how it's going to be. But in January, I'll be doing something new with albums. It's going to hopefully allow me to do more album reactions per month, and I will be possibly doing some older albums, like Ne Obliviscaris' older stuff. So no ETA on that, no hard ETA anyways. Like I said, sometime in January probably. January is the month that I think everything's finally going to click into place. Because I'm hoping that I'm going to catch up with something that I'm a little behind on right now in the next couple of months. That's going to open up a lot of free time during the week to do other projects. But I also I have those 2 weeks on break. And while I won't be doing any work, I do want to take a break, you know. I can't sit around to do nothing all day. So working on submission forms so that we can get some songs for the opening of live streams, making sure that these animations are tidied up, and a lot of little things that I don't have a lot of time during the week to do normally. We're going to get things locked into place so that January we can do the fun stuff. And that includes, because I know people like Shading Core keep asking, we return back to the game streams, and we'll be playing Nier Replicant again by January at the latest. I know some of y'all looking forward to that. See, there's the other thing too. Is that given that we've been doing this for so long, some of these albums I've reacted to almost completely. Some of them even completely, just not in the proper order or cohesively. Wow, dude. That's wild. I never had any artist compliment my MySpace. Yeah, Cruelty... Well, see, the thing is, too, is that Nier is almost done. I think all I have to do is collect, like, 20 more weapons. And I'm probably going to cheese that. Some of it's just gold-based. I'm not going to grind for gold. I'm just going to go get a trainer or something. Grinding for materials, I'm not going to do that. So that actually might go rather quickly. And then it'll be Cruelty Squad. So maybe February at the latest. That's practically right around the corner if you think about it. I mean, 4 months is a lot, but practically right around the corner into the grand scheme of things, right? All right, let's get on to this. Some Sword Swallower. Nier is never truly done. All right, I got the volume set on this. Yes, I do. Let's see what's going on. Right, February does feel pretty close. Some interesting rhythms from the percussion. I think all of the holidays create these rather closely connected like checkpoints, and it just feels like you're always crossing the next thing off. I think that kind of helps with some sort of illusion of time. Now, is this Black Gaze? I do like the production on this. That bass kick has presence. I think the bass guitar in general has a lot of presence too. There's a nice low end element to this, but it's not muddy. Well, not as muddy as it could be, I suppose. Very high quality black metal though. Oh, okay, I gotcha. That makes sense. Ooh. It kind of reminds me of a less avant-garde Ashenspire. I could see them associating with Death Heaven really well. it's a fade out. Yeah, that wasn't terrible. I mean, as far as black metal goes, it has some interesting rhythmic ideas in it. The drums are, I mean, they have the aggression that black metal drummers typically do, but I appreciate the contrast that's going on in there. Some of those, I mean, someone had mentioned mathy, greed up there. Yeah, very, very mathy stuff. That's just not what I normally expect from black metal, so it's very appreciated here. The vocals are very clear. I didn't hear everything, but with the lyrics pulled up, I could certainly find where I was and follow in at times. I seldom think of black metal when I listen to them. See, I wonder if it's because of my relationship to black metal, but that's all I hear. There's some interesting influences, a little bit of punkiness, a little bit of mathiness, but this is black metal at its core to me. And a lot of that comes from the consistency in the rhythms from the guitars, comes from the vocal styling. Although it is more of a yell, it's not the traditional nasally black metal sound. So that's kind of cool too. It brings a little more of a punkier flair to it. But there is quite a bit of variety, not just from the drums, but from the instruments too. There's some weird switch ups in here. We got a little bit of that melody there at the end of the song with the single note guitar thing. It was a bit of a slower melody compared to the intensity of the band, but it was a melody nonetheless. What I will say though, bringing up the idea of the unfinished lyrics, is I don't know that it works here. Like I said, I think it's a cool concept. I would love to see an idea of the poetry being more lengthy, would be, I guess, the term, in lyric books or inserts than what's actually said. But I'm not sure that it really works here. He stops mid-sentence, and if you follow the story, you're just kind of left wondering, is that the end? Because it does end where he puts the sword in his mouth, finagles it down his throat, and says that a look of ecstasy washed over blank. And you don't really know who it washed over, so I guess that's kind of interesting. We don't see that it washed over the sword swallower, but then we also don't see the bizarre follow-up, which I guess that can kind of end on a nice ending, sort of to be a bit cliche here, the Inception ending. Did it stop spinning or didn't it? It's just a nice open-ended end. Open ending? Maybe that's the word I wanted. It's a nice open ending to the story. What I'm saying is that the story could end here, and I think it would be fine. And I guess that kind of works too. But it's still kind of bizarre to me that there's more to this that they didn't include here, especially given that there was 30 seconds of music with no words at the end of the song after they had said that final line. There's plenty of room to add more. The end surely is open. No. Artistically, it creates a yearning for closure. I can see that. I mean, that's consistent with any sort of open-ended art. It's good because the song would stretch its welcome. I can agree with that. As a not a very big black metal fan, I think this was a good amount of time for music. And like I said, I do appreciate it too. It is high fidelity black metal, so I like that. New age black metal, I'm here for that. Let me somebody make that. I want to hear what people are going to come up with for that. That was a lot better than I was expecting. Black metal, black gaze in general, you all know I got a real shaky relationship with that. But I didn't dislike that. It worked well. If a story about swallowing sharp objects stops in mid-sentence, I don't think things went well. That's very true. Very true. Now, speaking of Nier and even Nier replicants, more specifically, we have something from the Nier soundtrack. This one comes from Taranakla, something familiar yet different. We're looking at the artist Asunojokei. I don't know if that's how you pronounce that. With City of Commerce, the Weiss edition arrangement from the Nier replicant version 1.22 OST. Yeah, dude, go for it. I'm interested in checking more of them out, especially since, I kind of feel like I have to listen to black metal. It's just part of the channel now. There's no way of getting around it. So you give me black metal I'm more receptive to, I'll take it. Asunojokei. That's what I said, but I don't think that's right. That J sounds weird. Everything else feels okay. Oh, they're black gaze post-hardcore. Wait, for real? This what we're about to listen to? Let's just dive into it then, I guess. See what's going on. I got too many questions. I can figure them out by hitting play. Yeah, Nomad 23. Dude, I didn't even mention. I didn't figure out that there's a daylight saving time until this morning myself. So, lucky for me, I wait until my clock says it's the right time and I do it, but not great for communicating that out for everyone else. So I do apologize for anyone who's shown up early or late today. All right, let's dive into this, see what's going on. The song's not from the OST, just an album with many arrangements. Okay. There we go. Definitely black gaze. Oh, look on the gazy part. Oh, this song! Okay, yeah. Ooh, that was an interesting rhythmic shift. Yeah. That's a fun bell of the symbol. It's gone now. Alright, Ramono, have a good rest of your day. I mean, the vocalist. Hey, this sounds more. I mean, the drums are busy. It sounds closer to the original, though. Vocalist is real tucked in that mix, though. That bass walk down. Dude, this melody got stuck in my head for so many days. It's interesting that they changed so much to it, but they refused to expand on the melody at all. Yeah, I don't know that I have a lot to say about this one. I think they did a good job taking a very folky acoustic guitar track from a game soundtrack and turning it into a black metal song. I'm kind of curious what the lyrics are, since the original did not have lyrics. Well, okay, maybe it did. Someone correct me on that, but I vaguely remember there being a version of this where either Devil or Popula sang on top of it, but maybe I'm wrong. But there's just no expansion to the idea, and the heavy loop kind of works better in a game context where it kind of sits on the background while you're reading the text of the people that you're talking to in the town or going around to different shops and stuff like that. But here, it's just a hair bit too repetitive. Oh, that's interesting. Sounded more like black metal than the last track. But like I said, I do kind of like what's going on here. It's a neat adaptation. I just wish they had done something more with it. We see in the bridge that they dip things down a little bit, shifting to the acoustic guitar. I thought this was a great change, but the melody is still retained, that one lick. Oh, okay. Oh, so that's what I'm thinking of then, was the sort of the choir-esque Oz. I just couldn't remember if there were like words to that melody I was humming or not. But yeah, so where was I going with this? Oh yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It just kind of does this one idea over and over and over. And for 4.5 minutes, I guess it's not too long, but it definitely felt like it overstayed its welcome for me. It's cool though. And it was neat to hear a melody on top of some black metal. I feel like that just doesn't happen as much as I'd like it to, or maybe it's just not as present in the mix as I would want it to be. And I think because this was a cover of an instrumental track, having those core melody parts show up, even if they were changed from quarter notes and eighth notes and stuff just to that constant 16th note strumming, still having that core melody there is neat. It did wear out its welcome a little bit. I was pretty interested in it in the first minute and a half or so. By minute 4.5, I was like, okay, I get it. But you say this is a whole soundtrack of this? I mean, I see track 7 here is Hills of Radiant Winds by Moto Fukushima and House of something. Can't see the rest of that. I might have to listen to this whole album though. All the styles are different, I would assume. It isn't all black metal. Alright, like I said, I don't have a lot of thoughts on that one. I enjoyed it for what it was. Where we are really wrapping today up with some metal, aren't we? That's an outlier? Okay. Yeah, I'll check the rest out then. Here we have some Impetuous Ritual. This one comes out as from Merrick, a Swedish prog band that is very dear to my heart. They actually started as a King Crimson tribute band and later became their own thing. Although I originally chose a different song from a later album, I ultimately decided on the title track from the sophomore album, Nucleus, as it showcases their wild side and represents a point where they started to explore new grounds, an unrelenting prog masterpiece. So we're going to be looking at the song Convoluting unto Despondent Anachronism. No, that's the album. We're going to be looking at the song Nucleus, which means that I have the wrong album here. I have the wrong everything here. Yep. Wait. There we go. I had these backwards somehow. Next is Impetuous Ritual. Okay. So here we go. Everything is right in the world now. Got it figured out. Let's dive into this, see what's going on with Anekdoten's Nucleus. So we've had a lot of Swedish representation today. That's not very common, is it? Dude, that bass at the bottom. That little rhythmic switch up. Yeah, phrase extensions. Dude, this is all over the place. Not the vocals I was expecting, but I like it. That section came out of nowhere. That was wild. Some System of a Down level noise. I feel like this is something you'd have to sit down with though. Give it a few listens. It's a hair bit more eclectic and disjointed than I typically like, but it does have some neat passages to it. You know what's interesting too is for some weird reason, I can't really vocalize why, Primus comes to mind. Okay, yeah, that's harsh. How old is this? Like Primus without the bass line? Yeah, okay. 95. It's like this is a neat, still eclectic section. Gravity was their most poppy or alt rock. That might be a good place for me to start and grow into their weirder side. That's funky. Maybe there's some areas of the 90s that I'm not too familiar with. I asked because I can't place this at all. Maybe a little bit of bungle in here. Is that it? It does remind me a little bit of early System, which immediately makes me think of Mr. Bungle from the 90s. I can kind of see that sound. But like a general 90s rock sound, I don't hear 90s metal in here either. It feels very eclectic and unique and not really of any time. Oh, Anglagard. See, I don't even know if I'd say that. There is definitely some neat ideas in here. I think the verse in general works for me as it's their least noisy and aggressively avant-garde. But there's so many sections that I think I can appreciate for the ingenuity and uniqueness. But there is very little in here that I think I enjoyed. The bass in general is nice though. Nice tone, nice presence in the mix, cool moving ideas. Never really taken the spotlight. It's usually just a sort of a walking bass line. It always lends itself well to chaos though. You only got a few seconds in anything that is a bit more palatable, and then you just get thrown into something else. And I kind of thought it would just be the beginning. That first transition was wild. I was like, okay, then we went back to the verse. I was like, okay, cool. But nope, that was a taste for how things were going to be. That became the status quo, was whipping you around into the next wild idea. And some of those ideas I think are neat. There's some cool rhythmic ideas in there. There's that funky moment that kind of came out of nowhere. But it's avant-garde. It's experimental. It's disjointed. It's eclectic. It's chaotic. It works in a way though. And I got to give them props for that. This could have been a big disaster of a song. And they made it work on some level. I can't tell you what level that is. I don't know why it feels as cohesive as it does. But it does kind of work. Not something I'd want to listen to again, but I think it'd be fun to do a proper reaction of. Just so I could maybe see how everything clicks, maybe a little more. Find some sort of, I don't know, connection between the different parts. Yeah, and I do try, right? Because these are things that just immediately bounce off of me. And anything that does, I try not to be super negative about. Because it's easy to say, well, that, I didn't like any of that. Video over. I try to give it the benefit of the doubt that there's something deeper in there, even if I don't know. I'm glad people were enjoying it, though. I mean, Darren's over there immediately checking out more. So I think that's my favorite part about about doing this stuff, especially the live streams where we get more eclectic choices like this. Kind of surprised that they were willing to throw away a really cool idea that lasts for 3 or 4. Dude, I have no idea. they're not the only artist that does that. Just like, how? When I find a cool idea, I'm gonna milk it. I'm gonna get as much mileage out of that as I can. That I feel like I haven't tried into, overstaying its welcome. But if something works, I'm using it, and it's little throwaway ideas for them. It's wild. I don't know. All right. Our penultimate song today is Impetuous Ritual, which I kind of talked about a little bit earlier. We have no context on it. It comes from Synapse. I love the diversity of musical taste in this community. 100%. It's as far as being a YouTube content creator, it's a blessing and a curse. I enjoy it because it brings in a lot of cool people and that widens the horizons of the community more, but it is absolutely terrible for analytics. It's so much easier to get pigeonholed into being the black metal reactor or something. YouTube has no idea what to do with my algorithm. Or the algorithm has no idea what to do with me, I think. Because my channel's so much more than one thing. This was your pick for Brutal Week. That's okay. That's some context. I feel like this day has just gotten more extreme with each passing song. Oh, this isn't. Oh, I don't know why I did that. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I wish I could comment on that, but hopefully somebody's got an answer for you. Well, that said, I'm going to dive into this next track. Convoluting unto Despondent Anachronism by Impetuous Ritual. Let's kick it. Yeah, I wish I had read that comment just a hair bit earlier. That's better than caffeine in the morning. Golly. That snare. Yeah, just a little compressed. Hey, Jay Prophet. Made it just in time to be woken up. Golly, this music. Noise cloud. I don't know, Impetuous Ritual kind of works for this, I think. There. Oh, that little rhythmic switch up. Yeah, we had Portal a long time ago, though. I'm gonna say early 2020s. Or, I mean, this is all early 2020s. Jeez. Oh no, a bit more recent than I thought. December 2022. Lumorphal, no. Glamorphanel? Oh, okay. That's an interesting polyrhythm to pop up. I mean, the guitars were not emphasizing that at all. That's an interesting riff, too. I don't know what it is, but I can hear movements. Yeah, I agree with that. That was going to be my first topic, Synapse, was that this is kind of nuanced. There is variety to it. It is very compressed, very wall of soundy. A lot of the things I have issues with black metal. There's a lot of 16th note, just constant playing here. It's difficult for me to find anything to really enjoy about it. But then the drums will shift up. A little bit of a tempo shift, a little rhythmic shift, that polymetric thing there at the end. it is, it has moments to it that I think are kind of neat. There's obviously, even somehow, I don't know how they achieved this. There's varying levels of intensity. Like, the song felt like it was a 10 all the time, and then the ending was like, wait, they took it to 11? Despite just being full on rage for 4.5 minutes, there's varying levels of rage. That's kind of impressive. It's I'm so bewildered I can't speak. But beyond the variety, I don't know that I have a lot to say about it. Even just like, I don't know. I'm kind of glad that this didn't get picked because I don't even think in a critical lens I'd have much to say about it. The vocals are gnarly. They're super compressed, just screeching and screaming, I think half the time. No words, just sounds. And everyone else is, for the most part, outside of moments of variety, just constant 16th notes. There's pitched movement on the guitars, I think, but I couldn't tell you what those pitches were. I don't really get any harmonic information out of this. The rhythmic variety saved my life through disturbing the consistency of my wall banging. It comes off to me as a lot of noise, with just enough clarity for me to say, oh, there probably is something pretty cool going on here. They're just covering it up with the production. And so like I said, I honestly don't hear much other than just this wall of chaos of noise. Yeah, that was a lot, man. That was a lot. Jeez. And see, I kind of, this is one of those songs that I would love to hear an acoustic version of. Not because I think it would improve the song in any capacity. I kind of want to hear what's going on underneath the production. I don't know if it'd be interesting, but I want to hear it. Not every, not every wall of sound. Oh yeah, I'd love to see Hellsongs cover this. That'd be awesome. Let's make this happen. Actually, now I'm kind of interested in the lyrics too, although when it comes to death metal, I feel like I should not be interested in the lyrics. Made you feel a bit old? One of those moments when the newfangled music is too much for you? When did this come out anyways? Oh, 2009. This isn't even new. Yeah, that's older than I thought. Alright, now, maybe with any sort of luck, we're gonna get away from this metal focus of the last few songs. It's not even just the metal of it all, it's like extreme metal. Everything we listen to has been extreme. And the only song in the back half of today's live stream to be a bit lighter. Again, I'm hoping Bent Knee. They've never made metal, I don't think. Y'all can correct me on that. Big Bagel Manifesto, which is just, that's a title. This one comes from Nessa version 2 from their newly released album. First time hearing this song was a special moment. Let's dive into it. It comes from 20 Pills Without Water. Came out in August. Oh, that was 2 months ago. It's got to be in my list. It's Bent Knee. Just the album title's not ringing any bells. I don't know. I'm going to drag this down preemptively just to make sure it's in my list because it's new Bent Knee. Why wouldn't it be? All right, let's dive into this. Yeah, prog rock is what I'm expecting here. A little bit more aggressive, maybe some noisy bits, but it's still prog rock at its core. Let's kick it, see what's going on. Oh yeah, let me refresh the tab first. This website, man. I think I would just turn the stream off. I'd be like, okay, I'm done. Great atmosphere. I love the melody. All those little vocal runs. To be fair, I didn't know that she could sing like that. She's always had a good voice, but this is getting into like the pop realm of vocal runs. Black Juice of the Aquatic Centipede. Ooh, a little bit of a watery sounds. Oh, okay, yeah, we were on the same vibe with that. Not where I was expecting Bent Knee to go. The interesting thing is some of these instruments are very compressed, lots of white noise on them, but the overall production is very large, very high fidelity. think I've only been introduced to their noisier side, I think. Lots of layers, tons of tension. Hey, welcome. Echo was, yeah, that echo is interesting. Good call on the drums. I've been so focused on everything else I didn't even notice that. All right. I like the payoff, I think. Once that meaty guitar came in, I think the song had a turn for the better. Everything up to that point was the slow burn. Some sections or some additions I thought worked well, others were just okay. I think generally what stuck with me the most was the singing there. I love those poppy style runs. It created a sense of levity that I thought was contrasted very well with the heavy weight at the end of the song as the tensions rose. But it took a long time to get there, and I think it paid off well, but I'm not too sure there was too much in the first half that really stuck with me outside of the production of it all, which I said was exceptionally well done. It's such a high fidelity production, very artsy, very poppy, I think is what I meant to say. Lots of layers, lots of use of a large soundscape, just the harmonies by the end of it. And the thing is, too, is we have these harmonic stacks of the vocals. I think it was like 4 backing tracks on the vocal line, just creating this big stack of harmony. But then also like placing that a little bit further away from you on the outsides and even further from there, where they feel like 5 distinct stacks of vocals rather than just a wide wall of them. I have no idea how to do that. That sounded very cool. The drum work in the end was fascinating. I love that. Adds a little bit of complexity to a song that is generally musically a bit on the simpler side. Yeah, that's it is interesting though. I feel like it's not as dense as I expect from Bentley, but you know, like someone else had mentioned, oh, Nobody Important said they were surprised that people were surprised by this song because they've always had a few art pop songs here and there. I've only listened to like 3 Bentley songs, maybe 4. They've been cherry picked. I've never listened to an album, so I don't know what their sound is. This was definitely unique for me though. Both in layering and complexity and darkness. I feel like a lot of the songs I've listened to them are sort of already start dark and then get into chaotic noise, whereas this starts very light and vibrant and moves into a bit of tension. It's the same general movement, just from a different starting point. So that was interesting. But yeah, like, I enjoyed it. I think it was very cool. a strong artsy pop track with some very cool rock elements brought in at the end to do what I think they do best, which is craft an atmosphere and then twist it into something else. Yeah, I don't know about everyone else. That one's definitely going on my list, though. I gotta check that album out. And that wraps it up for today, then. Right? That was all 10? Yeah, we're good. Want to thank everybody, as usual, for coming out, spending their Sunday with me, checking out some cool music. We had some awesome conversation here today. Very cool one about soundtrack music. That one, that was an interesting topic. 4 or 5? Let me see. I know we've had a couple on live stream, so this isn't going to be a full list. So we've done 4 proper ones. Catch Light, Sunshine, which is what I think I remember most about them. Oh yeah, Terror Bird, although I think I remember the music video more than the song. And the Upward Spiral. Oh, I don't know when that was, though. I'd say 2022, 2023, though, based off the thumbnail. It's been a while. I've been wondering about why some pop songs withstand the test of time while others go insta-dated. My guess, with absolutely no data to back this up, would be that it has to do with forward thinking, of creating music ahead of the time now, even if that's not necessarily the intention of it. But I think a lot of people also discount pop for being brain dead music, and it's not. A lot of things go into writing a pop song, and so I think even coming from that direction, you can create something that is sonically interesting, not just today. Well, see, here we go. What is the thing that makes it sonically interesting? I don't know. I wonder if pop producers could answer that, or if it's still just the luck of the draw. Just like, becoming a pop star. You can have really strong pop songs and never make it big. So, yeah, it's what is the special sauce? I don't think anybody really knows. It's kind of luck. But because I was thinking, even songs like, big 80s tracks feel dated to the 80s, but they're still good today. How is that different than a song that feels dated to the 80s and feels old today? What is the difference between those two? I don't know. I don't have the answers for that, but something tells me it lies in a mix of production and music and luck. All right, we have early access popping up soon, sometime in the next few hours for those patrons. It's magic. I can go with that answer. Otherwise, everyone else, tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, I think is what I need to say now. We're going to kick it off with next week's theme, which I don't remember what it is, but it's going to be interesting, I hope. I really don't. What is next week's theme? Or tomorrow's theme? Oh, deep cuts. Yeah. This is going to be a good one, I think. Yep, that's it. Deep cuts and then drumming the week after. Is drumming what's winning right now? Bit of a shame. I do love my bass. But we haven't had a drum-focused week in a while, so that'll be good. Do I need to incorporate butt-based Fruit Ninja stuff into the theme's title? I don't have a title for today yet. So, I don't know. That would definitely catch some attention, though, I think. One of the most clickbaity things I ever wrote. But yeah, that's coming up tomorrow. That's why drumming got your vote? Very cool. The Ass Ninja. I think I'm doing it. That's got to be it. That's so bizarre. Maybe something riffing around that idea. I don't know. All right. Y'all have a good rest of your day. I'm going to figure this out. Hopefully I can get the VOD up earlier than Wednesday, I think is what happened this past week. So many issues with that. And then, if you wanted to come back to this and see any of it, you're welcome to it. All right. Until next time, though, I catch y'all later.